Hey, what's up, Reefers? I'm back from my trip in Utah. Did Angel's Landing again. It was once again super awesome. Just want to do a really quick video to show how the tank looks after I came back from my trip. I was away for about 6 days. I didn't do much at all to the tank after I got back yesterday morning because I was so tired. But basically yesterday I just feed my fish and also top off the water reservoir, and as you can see the tank is still really dirty just from being away and not maintaining it. It's really obvious that there's some hardcore algae growth on all sides of the glass, and based on the pattern you can tell that the snails try to eat it. Looking at the teeth pattern, it looks like the Mexican turbo really tried to dig into these, but they were unable to really get all of them. But you can see the pattern, the teeth mark. Now I have Mexican turbos and trocher snails in here. I'm thinking that I may need to add a different variety of snails to kind of target different segments of the algae or different thickness. So I may need to add some more delicate species, maybe like serif, maybe a good choice to add to the mix. But of course I know the snails cannot clean the glass completely, and eventually I'll still need to do some manual removal. So this is from maybe 8 or 9 days of not scraping the glass. Alright, well, besides obvious algae growth, at first I was really happy. I was like, man, look at my Ricordia, it doubled or tripled in size. And then I realized it's actually my mini colony of Ricordia that was up here that just fell off the rock and landed in this bunch. So I'm gonna finally reach my hand into my tank and just move this guy back up here. And another thing was that my small mushroom or Rhodectus got knocked off from there. Maybe I should finally glue it down. One thing I did notice though is that my green Montipora is not doing too hot. Before we only got white spot down here, presumably from the shade caused by the upper section of the same of itself. Well, actually, you know what? Now that I look at it, maybe the white spot is originally maybe it's probably shaded too. Just that the coral seems to have moved a little bit, so the shaded part is now facing the light. So I'm seeing the white spot now for the first time. So maybe it's okay. It was just I've never seen that part before. So I'll put it back in and see how it goes. And I noticed that my red, I'm not sure what kind of zoa it is actually. There's so many different names now. The red ones that were supposed to be on here. Well, actually no, it's actually supposed to be on there. Got knocked all the way down here, but thankfully it landed top side up, so it's okay. And you notice that my coral seems a little washed out right now. It's because I turned on the white lights and kind of turn down the blue lights just so that I can show the algae on the glass a little bit better. And another thing worth mentioning is that the rainbow or the bright rainbow bubble tip anemone seems to be doing well. It has grown in size or inflated a little bit more, and it's right out in the open now, which I'm really happy about. I am not too sure where my 2 other rainbow bubble tip anemone went to. It's like every time I come back from a trip, they take a trip themselves too, and I don't know. I'm looking around the rockwork, I don't see them. So, oh yes, right. You will probably notice that my rockwork seems a little bit more open compared to before, because I moved that. There's like a big piece of zoa rocks here. I moved it down here. Oh, you know what? One of the anemones should be in here because it was attached to this rock, but it's in there somewhere. So I moved that down here because the zoas were irritated by that little piece of anemone and that piece up here. That most of them just stay close. So I figured, let me just move it down there. Maybe the anemone decide to move, and the zoas will have a chance to reopen again. And looking at it now, it seems like they're opening again, which is a good sign. So I'll leave that there. I'll move the Ricordia back up here. Another change I did is also this little colony of zoas used to be back here in the shade, and it was just getting smaller and smaller, and they basically just closed up. They don't even open anymore. So before my trip, I know I got 6 days of just like letting it settle in place. I moved it here, and as you can see, all the zoas open again, and I'm sure they'll slowly regain their color. I'm really happy that they like the new spots a lot better. And speaking of light, so I saw your advice on cranking up the light a little bit because the zoas are reaching up for light. For example, here. So before I left the house, I cranked up the light to 60% at max, where it was 55% before, and I plan to slowly increase the amounts by 5%, maybe every week or every other week, and to a point where the zoas will lay flat to the rock. But at the same time, I'm trying not to stress out the frog spawn as well because it is so close to the light and it does not need too much light. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, just want to do a really quick update after I come back from my trip, where the tank is all dirty. Just want to see. I want you guys to see it raw, see what a mess it looks like after I come back. But yeah, no casualties so far. All the fish are accounted for except for the green clown goby, but I figured it just kind of tucked away, doing its thing, and it'll just pop up again whenever I feed the tank. So I'm not too worried about him. And obviously my parrot is really happy I'm back, and you hear him in the background. So that's pretty much it for this quick update, and I'll clean the tank up and maybe do a follow-up on why I moved that rock in details, and what my plan is in terms of aquascaping this tank. Alright, hope you guys had a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys. Oh, before I go, look who's here. Green clown goby. Well, good to see that he is still alive. Alright, with that said, I will, once again, talk to you guys later.